Hello everyone. Today we'll discuss about pedigree analysis, that is Mendelian disorders. Okay. So what is a pedigree analysis? It is nothing but an analysis of human gene transmission. So it is an analysis of human gene transmission. Okay. Next. So while you have to analyze the pedigree chart for a 3 generation, you have to know about the symbols that has been used in the pedigree chart. Okay. So I'll take the symbols first. So when they have written a symbol as a square, it means it indicates male. Circle indicates female. A fully colored square and fully colored circle, it indicates a deceased male or female. Okay. Next, when the square is half colored and when the circle is half colored, it indicates carrier state. Okay. Next, when there is a circle with a dot in it, it is an X-linked carrier state. Okay. Next, why it is only for a female with a dot, that is for a circle with a dot? It's because in a male, you already know they have XY chromosome. Only one X chromosome is present. When that X chromosome gets a defect or a gene in the X chromosome is being defect, the male will manifest the disease. The male can't have a X-linked. Male cannot be an X-linked carrier. Male can only be affected with the disease. Okay. Next, when the square or a circle is totally scored out, it means death. Next, when the square or a circle is indicated by a small arrow in the left corner, it indicates they are the index case. That is the first case. Okay. Next, going off with the marriage. When a female and a male gets married and it is denoted by a single line that is joining them. Okay, this means a marriage, a non-consanguineous marriage. Next, when it is denoted by 2 line, it indicates consanguineous marriage. So consanguineous marriage, the association or the what you can say, it is advantage for writing like this. It is associated with autosomal recessive inheritance. Okay. Next, when a line, the marriage line is being scored out in the middle, it means divorce. Okay. Next, when a male or a female, that is the circle or the square, has been bracketed, it means it is an adopted. Okay. Next, when a male and female they are married, they give birth to the children, that is offsprings. So the offspring is denoted with this. Okay, here they are siblings, offsprings. Next, for the offsprings, if they are being twins, when it is denoted with a mark like this, okay, connecting these circle and the square, the both offspring, it is meaning dizygotic twins. When the two sibling has been attached by another line, it means it is monozygotic twins. Next, when the symbol is like this, there is no offsprings, only you have these dotted lines, it means no offsprings. Sorry. Okay, so this is about the symbols. Next, we'll go in detail about autosomal dominant, the Mendelian disorders. So the Mendelian disorders are, so there are 4 Mendelian disorders. One is autosomal recessive, second is autosomal dominant, third will be X-linked dominant, X-linked recessive, fifth will be Y-linked. So these 5 are Mendelian disorder. We'll talk about each of this in detail. Okay. So before talking about them in detail, we have thumb rule. That is 2 thumb rule. So because in your MCQs or 1 mark questions, when they give you the pedigree chart and tell you to analyze what type of chart it is, what type of inheritance it is, you have to remember only these 2. Okay. First, look for the gender that is being affected in each generation. So the gender which is being affected in each generation. Okay. Next, second, you have to look for any skipping in the generation. Skipping in the generations meaning any generation being skipped, because in that generation none of the females or male are being affected. So whether the generation is skipped or not. Okay. So first, in this, the gender in affected in each generation you are going to see. So in autosomal dominant, whether it is dominant or recessive, okay, there is no gender bias. So there is no gender bias in both autosomal dominant and autosomal recessive. First. Second, generation skipped or not, whether the one particular generation. When the generation is skipped, it is autosomal recessive. When it is not skipped, it is autosomal dominant. Okay, so this is the main thumb rule, or in a easier way you can keep it. When the generation is being skipped, it is recessive. When the generation is not being skipped, it is dominant. Okay. So first you have to have these two thumb rule. One, to see whether the gender bias is there. Second one, you have to see whether the any generation is skipped or not. Okay. First we will deal in detail with autosomal dominant. Before going into detail of this autosomal dominant, I have to tell you another one thing. That is, if a person has, if this is a person, okay, if a person have a one mutant allele, if a person have one mutant allele with one normal allele, it is termed as heterozygotes. It is termed as heterozygous state. Okay. Next, if if the another person having two allele is being, both the allele is muted or mutant, then you call this as homozygous state. Okay. In going on with this autosomal dominant, going into the topic proper, in autosomal dominant inheritance, the disease is manifested in the heterozygous state. Even when there is one mutant allele, the disease will be manifested. So first point, in autosomal dominant inheritance, disease will be manifested in heterozygous state. Okay. So as told earlier, I've told the thumb rule na. As told earlier, here both male and female are affected. Okay, there is no gender bias. There is no gender bias in autosomal condition. Next, third point, multiple individuals can be affected in multiple generations. Okay, so there is no generations are skipped. Third point. Fourth, here both male and female can transmit the disease. So both male and female can transmit the disease to the offspring. Okay, and there are three main characters of autosomal dominant inheritance. First is pleiotropy. So what is meaning of pleiotropy? So pleiotropy means different systems of the body is affected in different ways in a single gene mutation. So in an autosomal dominant, there will be a mutation in some gene. Okay, so when there is a single gene mutation, the different systems of the body, different system of the body is being affected. Okay, so this is the meaning of pleiotrophy. Next, for example, this what is it, Marfan syndrome is a autosomal dominant inheritance, right? In Marfan syndrome you can have multiple manifestations. The arm span will be more, you can have laxity of the joints, the cardiac system will be affected. So they have a multiple body system will be affected if when there is a particular genus defect. It's a characteristic of autosomal dominant. Second, variable expressivity. So what is meant by variable expressivity? So variable expressivity means different family members can have different severity. So that means different severity of the disease among the members with the same mutation. So different severity of the disease in spite of carrying the same disease, in spite of carrying the same disease causing the variation. Okay, that is the meaning of variable expressivity. Okay, next, third point about autosomal dominant is penetrance. So what is the meaning of penetrance is this penetrance meaning index of proportion of individuals with the mutant allele who manifest the disorder. So it is nothing but an index of proportion. So it is an index of proportion of individuals with mutant allele who manifest the disorder. Okay, that is when the person have a reduced penetrance in a particular individual, they may result in no clinical symptoms, or that can have a skipped generation in the pedigree also. So but that is rare. Okay, this is rare occurrence in an autosomal dominant inheritance. Next, I'll show you the flow chart, pedigree analysis chart. Here this female is being affected. So when the female is being affected, they are being diseased. That is, they will show the clinical symptoms. So clinical symptom will be present. Okay, next. This is diseased. Okay, I'm writing it like this. So this is an example of autosomal dominant inheritance. So in this, take home point is recurrence. Recurrence rate you have to know. So that is, every child has a 50% of chance of being 50% chance of having the disease, and 50% chance of, this is 50% chance of not having the disease. Okay, so this is the recurrence rate of autosomal dominant inheritance. That is when the mother, that is here there is no gender bias in autosomal conditions. So when the mother is being affected and married to a normal male, the children born will have, the two of the children born, that is 50% of this offsprings will have the disease, and 50% of the offspring, this both will be normal. Again, when this affected male is married to a normal female, his 50% of his children will be affected, and 50% of his children will be normal. So this is about the autosomal dominant inheritance. Okay, next we'll talk about autosomal recessive. Going off with this autosomal recessive condition, as told earlier, in dominant I have told that this is a heterozygous state and this is a homozygous state. Autosomal dominant meaning the individual will manifest the disease in a heterozygous state. But in an autosomal recessive condition, individual will manifest the disease only in the homozygous situation, homozygous state. So disease will be manifested only in homozygous, okay, no, only in a homozygous state. Okay, this is the first point you have to remember. And according to the thumb rule, there is no gender bias in autosomal condition. Third point, generations will be skipped. Generations can be skipped when you see a pedigree analysis. The consanguinity can be present in the family. Okay, next I'll show you this pedigree chart. So in a pedigree chart, you can have, there are 5 types of autosomal recessive condition. So we're not going to talk about all that 5 recurrence rate conditions. I'll talk about this only. Okay, so when both parents are carrier, so this is a carrier state. So when both the parents are being carrier, okay, you will get a chance that 25% of your children will be affected, 25% of the children will be unaffected, and 50% of the children will be in a carrier state. Okay, understood? So according to autosomal recessive, the recurrence risk, so when both the mother and father, when both are carrier, there will be a 25% will be affected. That is, they will manifest the disease. They will manifest the symptoms. 25% will be normal and remaining 50% will be in a carrier state. Okay, this is when both the mother and father are carrier. So we have different types, like when mother is affected and father is a carrier, what will be the next recurrence risk of the children. So I'll tell you that also. So when both the parents are affected, that is when both the parents manifest the disease, when both the in an autosomal recessive condition, when both the parents manifest the disease, that there is a chance that every child will be affected. So all will be affected when both the parents are having the diseased state. Next, when one parent is having the disease, another parent is normal. This is normal. Okay, only this parent is having the disease. When one parent is having the disease, another parent is normal, what will happen? Okay, that is, all will be in a carrier state. How to remember this? You can't remember everything fully now, so I will teach you in another way. So this is being affected, this capital A is affected, small a is being normal. You have to cross and write it. Okay, you have learnt in your 12th standard class, right, like crossing and writing. So AA again, so this will be the inheritance, that is the offspring state. That is, all will be in a carrier. Okay, when when one parent is normal and when one parent is normal and other parent is affected, this I'll write it here. This is affected one. Capital A is affected one. Small a is normal one. Okay, so this is a carrier state. Next, when one parent is affected, another parent is a carrier. This is carrier state. Another parent is a carrier. What will you get? So you will get 50% of the children will be affected, and again another 50% will be a carrier. This is this A and this A. Here this A and this. Here this and this. Understood? And here this and this. Understood? Again I'll tell you it in a shorter way by like this. This is an affected parent and this is a carrier parent. You will have this AA here. They both will be in a carrier state. So 50% will be affected and 50% will be in a carrier state. And next, when one parent is a carrier, another parent is normal. Normal is this one. Okay. So when one parent is carrier, another parent is normal. We'll again put this square. This is a carrier. This is normal. What will you get? So here we'll do solve this. A, this A, here A and A. That is 50% will be normal and 50%, this is carrier state, and 50% will be a carrier state. This is how you have to solve if they ask a question. They can ask you MCQ like this. In an autosomal recessive pattern, when both the parents are affected, what will be the recurrence risk? The recurrence risk is that all the children is being affected. This one, this question. Okay. Or next question. When one parent is affected and another parent is not met, what will be the recurrence rate of the children? All will be carrier. Okay. So this is the type of MCQ that can be asked in your autosomal recessive question. Okay. Or when both the parents are being carrier state, 25% will be affected and 25% will be normal and 50% will be in a carrier state. So this is about autosomal recessive. Next we'll talk about X-linked recessive. Okay, fine. I'll take X-linked recessive and X-linked I'll take X-linked recessive and X-linked dominant in a separate video. Thank you. Let's all learn pediatric together.